Hey everyone, hope you all are doing great. Let's kick off today's session with a quick introduction. I am Daksh Singh Rathore, Open Source Lead at GDG NSEC for 2024-25, and I'm currently in my third year pursuing BTech in Computer Science and Engineering. Today's session will focus on open source, what it is, how we as undergraduates can significantly benefit from it, and how to get started. We'll also cover the elephant in the room, Hacktoberfest 2024, what it is, how to participate, and much more. Let's quickly go over today's agenda. What is open source history and its impact? We'll discuss what open source means, its history and its impact, and moving ahead we have setting up a project locally using Git and GitHub for open source contributions. So we'll having hands-on session where we'll set up a front-end stake clone locally using Git and GitHub to give you a practical experience with contributing to open source. Moving ahead, we will get to know what is Hacktoberfest, its registration, contribution, swags, and many more. And also we'll learn about the best practices for contributing. At the end, we'll have Q&A session where you can ask your questions via the comment section or simply tag me in the official GDG WhatsApp group. At last, I have a special announcement. As many of you know, Hacktoberfest stopped distributing physical goodies after the year 2022. However, I would like to personally offer some goodies to top contributor in our repo. The top 3 contributors will be asked to fill out a Google form with their details so I can dispatch the goodies as soon as possible. Now, moving ahead with the very first agenda of today's session, OS history and its impact. The word open source speaks for itself. Source open. As in open source software implies that the source of the software, code, no code, is open for everyone to look at. By no code, it can even be the design of the product. Now, let's look at a real life example of such software. VLC Media Player. We have all used it instead of the default media player that Windows provides. It's completely open source and also participates in the GSOC event almost every year. Moving ahead, we have Linus Torvalds. It released the Linux kernel in 1991, combining the GNU tools to create fully open source operating system. So here's the guy, Linus. He's a great pioneer who truly harnessed the power of open source in its truest sense and gave the world this awesome operating system that we all know, Linux. Now moving ahead, major companies like Google, Meta and Microsoft have embraced open source development, GSOC, Kubernetes, React. So let's have a look at each one of them. GSOC stands for Google Summer of Code, is an annual open source event somewhat like Hacktoberfest, where different organizations participate and expect selected candidates to contribute solely to their projects, offering a pretty decent stipend for 3 months of the work. Now moving to the next tool, that is Kubernetes. So Kubernetes is an open source tool developed by the Google employees. Here's the repository of the Kubernetes. So basically Kubernetes, also known as K8, is an open source system for managing and containerized applications. So yeah, it deals with DevOps of the DevOps side of the applications, and yeah, it was developed by the Google employees and it's completely open source. Next we have React.js. As you all know, it's a pretty famous front-end library used to create front-end projects, and it was developed by Jordan Walk, a Meta employee. This guy who's still working on it and he's still in Meta. So now moving to the next point, open source software now powers key infrastructures like servers, cloud services and IoT devices. Fun fact, it's estimated that around 90% of cloud infrastructure runs on Linux. You might be thinking Linux is pretty uncommon when you look around, as most school or college lab computers primarily use Windows. However, when it comes to cloud infrastructures and even basic servers, Linux is the dominant choice due to its customizability and the ability to tweak hardware behavior through the GUI or terminal. Moving ahead, we'll set up the project locally. We'll be using GitHub, the most popular code sharing platform, where the code for the project you will contribute to during Hacktoberfest is hosted. Some other well-known alternatives are GitLab and Bitbucket. So this is the logo of GitLab and this one is of Bitbucket. I will demonstrate how to clone an already published repository from GitHub to my local system. Both of these repositories will be made public, allowing you all to contribute in Hacktoberfest 2024. So yeah, this is the very first repo, stake front-end clone. The tech stack is React and White. Eventually you'll be adding Tailwind CSS and much more. Also, ensure that Git is installed and connected to your GitHub account If not, feel free to message me in the WhatsApp group and I'll send you a quick and easy tutorial on how to install and set it up, regardless of your operating system. Before starting, it's essentially important to clearly understand the issue you're working on. For example, let's create a demo issue here. To add the design for stake clone, first navigate to the obviously issue tab here and then click to the new issue button. Provide the title. I think it's already created. I did previously. Provide a title of the issue along with a precise description what you want to work on, and then submit the new issue. Yeah. Next, you will need to fork the repository, which essentially means creating an exact copy of the existing repo under your ownership. So just click on the fork button. You can clearly see here I am the owner of this fork. Now create fork. After successfully forking the repo, copy the URL of your fork and open a terminal to begin working on it. So just copy the URL from this button, and you need to copy the HTTPS URL. Now you just need to move ahead and open your terminal. That's pretty simple. Open a terminal and look, here's a basic algorithm you need to follow while cloning a repository using the terminal. So the very first command that we'll be using is git clone and the repo URL. Hit enter. Oh, this repo is already in my local system, so what I need to do is I need to remove it. My bad. Let's try again. So yeah, the repo is successfully cloned in our system and Git is initialized in it. Now we'll open the project in VS Code to make changes. It's a good practice to create a separate branch for the issue you're working on. To name the new branch on the issue number, use the following command. So we'll be creating a separate branch. Right now we are in the main branch. So in order to create the separate branch, here's the command: git checkout -b and issue 1. Now we'll make the changes as needed. So what we need to do actually is add the design of the stake website. So for that we'll just simply paste the URL. So since it is a MD file, so we have to do it accordingly, keeping the syntax in mind. So here's the syntax: just third bracket, write stake, and within parentheses just paste the URL of the stake website. So here's what the website looks like, and you need to create the front-end clone of it. Yep. So this is how the MD file will look like. Yep. So let's just add some basic comments, not comment, text design to be implemented. Now, once we have made the changes, we need to stage the changes. In order to do so, we'll be using the command git add period. So what does period? This period will help you to stage all the changes at once. Also, you can stage them individually by just writing the file name instead of the period. So right now, since we have made only one changes, so period is pretty helpful in this case. Just hit enter. So the changes are staged, and now we'll be taking a snapshot of the changes. So the command git commit will help us to create the snapshot of the changes. You'll be typing a commit message. So since we haven't done much changes, we did the change in the doc part. So yep, this is the commit convention that you need to write: docs updated readme, hit enter, and yeah, we have taken successfully the snapshot of the stage changes, and now we will push our code. In order to do so, we'll like git push -u. Here's the command: git push -u origin issue 1. Yep. Now, once we have followed this algorithm, after pushing the changes, let's navigate to our fork. Yeah. So here we'll click on this button, compare and pull request. We'll add a suitable title along with the description that this PR resolves. Now, once we have successfully added the description of our change, click on create a pull request. One thing I forgot to mention you all, along as you are commenting, means in the description part, you need to also add the issue number that you are solving. So it would help the maintainer to navigate the issue that you're working on. So what you need to do is just type in issue hashtag the issue that you're working in. One thing we missed, that we need to make sure reference the issue this PR resolves. In order to do so, what we have to do is type in issue space hashtag 1 and hit enter. So what it will do is it will reference this PR under the issue thread that we just created. We need to just update the comment, and voila. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Now you just need to wait for your PR to get merged, and you can see the changes in the original repo. Also, what I would suggest you to do is just tag the maintainer of this project. So you can tag the maintainer of the project and ask him to review the PR. So just yeah, I've added the project maintainer and I'll politely request him to review and merge the PR. So just yep. Yeah. Now moving ahead, I've already completed the registration process of Hacktoberfest. So let's move back to the presentation. We are done with the this part. Now moving ahead, we have Hacktoberfest 2024 and best practices. Hacktoberfest is DigitalOcean's annual event that encourages people to contribute to open source throughout the October month. So yeah, this is the official website, a month-long celebration of all things open source. Click on start hacking. Yep. So I've already completed the registration process and it's quite simple. Once you register and authenticate with your GitHub or GitLab account, so you will be presented with an interface something like this. Yep, this will be the interface that will be present, and here will be a progress bar. So to complete the task, you need to make 4 successful PRs in the repositories participating in this event. Simply check the about section of the repository where you will contribute to. So this label must be present for it to be valid, and yeah. A tip to save time, check the commit history of the repo. If the commits are recent, it indicates that the repo is active and likely accepting contributions. So yes, if the commit is recent, then yeah, clearly it is accepting contributions. Now once you successfully merge the 4 PRs, you will receive virtual gifts from the DigitalOcean, and also some important points to keep in mind while contributing to open source projects across these events. have patience and always remain polite. Do not bother the maintainers with questions that can be easily resolved with a simple Google search. After commenting under an issue or a PR thread, always tag the maintainer as we did earlier. And wait for the reply. Also adhere to the commit message conventions when raising a PR and keep it concise. Your commit message should be concise, to the point. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Feel free to tag me in the WhatsApp group for further assistance, and I'll do my best to reply as soon as possible. Hope you have fun this Hacktoberfest.